The Driving While Awesome podcast is recorded live to SD card at the Beeline Motor Club in Santa Cruz, California.
Like, I don't know if you had a relationship like this with any of your teachers, but like you would be like in the office and you would swing by and say hello to, you know? Like, she was pretty rad.
Maybe pick a flower?
Maybe two. Yeah. Don't you always feel like everybody says you have like a good side, right? Like I feel like my left side's a lot better than my right side.
Oh, then you're stoked on your position.
Dude, when I was over there, I felt like I was greasier and like all of a sudden like I was missing teeth or something, you know? Like
I mean, that's from all the meth, but yeah. I wouldn't blame.
So that's the meth chair is what's happening.
Welcome to Driving While Awesome, part of the Hagerty Podcast Network. My name is Warren.
I am Lane.
And I'm Art.
You know, it's funny. I meant to do that in Spanish, and I just forgot.
Dang. Just
Bienvenidos a Driving While Awesome. Me llamo
Parte
Warren. What's that?
Parte de.
Parte de?
Part of. The,
I forgot about that part.
Okay.
How do you say network?
Networking.
Okay.
All of a sudden he's Italian.
I don't know.
I know. He's Japanese, Italian. It's all happening. I was just looking at my phone.
I think they use the word cadena, which is kind of an interesting word because it means chain.
Chain.
Yeah. Cadena is like for in this scenario, right?
Those
chains.
2 chains.
Mm-hmm.
Just randomly, I was chatting with our buddy Clark Sopper of Round Cat Racing, who's next door to us here at the studio. He's in Japan, and he went to a sumo tournament.
Sweet.
Match. I don't know what you really call it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's tournament, maybe. Mm-hmm. And get this, no advertising, like no digital screens of any kind. It's just sumo. And then during like intermissions or what have you, people hold banners and walk up on the stage and do a slow little catwalk and walk back down.
Oh, like so with advertising?
With advertising. Like just words, you know, like I don't know if there's pictures on them. Just simple like
sanyo or whatever.
Or like probably Hanes sumo underwear.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's who makes those things, right?
Yep.
Apple iPhone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So I don't know why that's happening over there, but that's what's going on.
That's pretty rad, dude. Like, how incredibly traditional is that?
I love it. I told him to add that to the itinerary of the K-Car rally when we go to Japan.
Mm-hmm. Dude, K-Car rally is about to happen. I was on the thread. I had to remove myself.
Oh,
I was so jealous.
Busy?
Wait, where is it?
Japan.
Oh, it is happening.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, well,
it's like coming up in the next. I forget what day. You know,
it's
like
really happening
this next month. Yeah.
And Clark's awesome. Doing it.
Yeah.
Huh.
The first one.
Yeah. Have to fly in for this now. See next year.
I know.
I think next year is the time.
Yeah.
I wanted to go.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to go. I was just rereading emails from my Japan trip, and it was really funny stuff that was going on, stuff I forgot about.
You're like, they all speak a different language. It's weird.
Well, no, I read a part about reverse racism, which, you know, don't experience often here.
Reverse racism.
Where there's bars there that only Japanese people could go into. They would not allow foreigners.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So you know why that's allowed?
But you know why that happened?
Art probably is allowed.
Yeah.
So,
you so let me in.
Yeah, until they see my tattoos, and then I get kicked out immediately. Did I tell you that I once went to a gym and I forgot? I know that you can't have your tattoos exposed, like especially in like a place like that, like in the gym or public.
Is that
baths.
Still a thing though? Because
Japanese people have tattoos like crazy.
Yeah. So I went into this, and I had short sleeve shirts. I went to the gym, and and they asked me to cover them up, and they gave me an option. Like they're like, oh, you can wear these sleeves.
First part of the story, I don't believe, is that you went to a gym.
I used to work out a lot.
Can you believe that? Can you picture it?
I actually
not that I can't picture you working out. Just
you're saying it just doesn't look like it. Is that what you're saying?
No, not that. It's just I don't know you to be like that type of person.
Dude, it's kind of like it's just like zone out time. It's just do. You know, I used to run.
What kind of music?
You listen to Square Pusher.
Square Pusher. Hiromi Uehara.
What about IDM?
IDM. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went anyways.
International dance music.
That's pretty solid, actually.
Not bad. Yeah, no, it's not for you or me. Well, it's only for smart people.
Intellectual?
Yeah.
It's intelligent dance.
Intelligent. So it's like what is that? What's the math rock?
Kind of, yeah. Like it's like math rock.
So
love
it's like
math
really
rock.
shitty, basically.
Oh, math rock is awesome.
No,
dude.
it's not.
Dude,
What is
battles?
math-
Look
math
up battles.
rock? Oh my
Look up
God.
Don Cab.
It's like really confusing. It's like not melodic, you know?
Yeah, I
Like,
love
it's all-
dissonance. I love like just yeah, it's so rad.
The opposite of melodic. It's like trash.
I don't want melody. Yeah, like sometimes, not always, but sometimes. It's just like sometimes you're on a different wavelength, bro.
I never heard of this.
Strings, chords, strings. We bring
Melody.
melody.
I'm down for some melody.
Rhythm
Come
is
on.
life.
Yeah.
And life is
And
rhythm.
life is
I
rhythm.
like discordant as well. I like
I don't know math rock. I gotta look it. I'll look it
God.
up.
I'll send you some.
Math
I'll send you
rocks.
some.
That's like an old thing. That's not like that's
around
not
for a
some
long time.
newfangled thing.
What? Name one band.
I
I
just named a
can't
couple.
name one.
Is it just computers that make the music?
No.
It's horrible. Dude.
It's horrible. Well, have you heard IDM?
No.
It's so heavy. We were in Tacoma driving to see Jeff Ross play at the Tacoma Comedy
Does he
Club.
play?
Perform. I don't know what you
Perform.
want
He
to
was,
say.
he was performing.
You know what I'm trying to say. And the Kia Soul, which we were in, which is quite lovely,
It's your favorite
Best
rental.
car
best
ever.
rental car in the world. But the Bluetooth kicked in onto Art's phone, and it was IDM. Oh no! First of all, I just thought it was like gnarly static and like a robot getting killed. And no, it was actually the music that Art was intended to listen to. And I was like, "What was that?" He's like, "Oh, that's IDM." I was in a. What did you just say right now?
In a trance or
No,
something
you
else?
were in a
different
state of
wavelength.
mind.
Yeah, bro.
So,
Yeah.
anyways, if you're watching this, after you're done watching on YouTube, you can listen to some IDM.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Aphex Twin, anybody? Nothing?
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's like right there.
I've heard of
right
that.
on the-
Yeah.
I heard of that.
Is this like what a hacker would listen to, like after they
for
got
sure,
dumped
dude.
or something?
For sure. Yeah.
No, I think more like while he's taking it down.
Oh, like taking it down. I see. Ambient.
Well, the podcast I was just telling you about, where I listened to an hour and a half dissertation on Cool Keith, hashtag Dr. Octagon, Dr. Doom. He has 12 different names he's gone by. And he's put out 39 albums, I believe.
I'm sure they're all great.
Black Elvis is one of them.
Okay.
But the lady who is on, it's this podcast called Bandsplained.
Oh, I've heard of that.
So a person comes on,
Yeah.
talks about this band that they love and why they have big fans or
it's
whatever.
a very big thing right now. Like Matt Farah's friend,
Christian, yeah.
James
does
Hunt.
it.
But this isn't like, it's not as analyzing of the songs, but it's
people
more
are
like
very
their
into
career.
this.
Yeah. And then
genre.
I listened to this one, 60 songs that define the 90s. But it's actually 90 songs. It's a ringer. It's from the Ringer.
Oh, okay.
They expanded to 90 songs.
Dude, by the way, I was just listening to a 90s mix and a banger came on. It
What's
was
that?
Tracy Chapman, Fast Car.
Fast Car. That's
Oh, Fast
80s
Car.
though, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe it is. It was like
Yeah,
it's
it's
like an 80s,
right around
90s,
that. Right around.
maybe
yeah,
in 1990,
it might
89.
Be. You might be right, actually.
But anyway, it was popular. in the
Great song though.
She lived. Isn't she in San Francisco still?
Oh, I don't know.
In San Francisco.
She's great. But we never talked about that song as a car
It
podcast.
is a great car song.
Fast Car.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
Yeah. But anyways, this lady was on there talking about Cool Keith. She's 33, white lady. It's like her favorite. She's like, oh my God, he's the greatest. It's like, I love that song so much. She's like, that is amazing. And you're just like, and she's like comparing it to like the French Revolution. She's like, it's crazy. Like,
Oh, wow.
she is like she was just talking about it in these intellectual terms. And I didn't understand them because I don't listen to that.
You don't listen to intelligent. You don't listen to intelligent time music.
Yeah. So we should get Art on there to discuss some dissonance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Distance. yeah.
Dissonance.
Distance.
Distancing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Social distancing.
I feel like we were getting somewhere.
We
from-
were getting somewhere. Where was
Fast
that?
car, Tracy Chapman.
No, there was something before that.
I want a
point.
fast car.
Such a good one.
Shoot. Yeah, I don't know where we started with this.
I heard a
Yeah.
cover of that recently, and it was really good.
Oh. Doesn't seem necessary. It's a pretty sick.
I know,
song,
right? But
yeah.
it was.
Oh,
They
let me
took
ask
it
you
a
this.
different way.
Covers that. Okay, you know how Weezer just covered Toto,
Yeah, of course.
Africa, which is a great song. They kind of did it note for note,
They didn't change it enough.
which is not cool.
No,
That's
you got to
lame.
change it up.
Like you
Yeah.
know that Boys of Summer cover, the
it's the Ataris,
Ataris.
Yeah.
They did it well because it's totally different tempo.
and they add the drum. Right, a punk cover is easy because you add just fast drums, and it makes it into a
tempo,
punk
yeah,
song.
Yeah. But that's a great song, and the covers stands on its own.
Yeah.
The cover does.
There's a
But-
Michelle Branch song. I think I forget who does it. One of the punk bands.
Oh,
It's
yes.
great because it takes it, or a Madonna. H2O does the Madonna Like a Prayer.
Yes,
awesome.
Yes. I love Weezer. I love Toto. That song's
But they,
great.
they just straight up covered it. It was
It's like identical note for note.
It's like, oh, look, I can play this song.
Right.
It's like, it's not.
and then
making
Toto's
it
probably
yours.
sitting there like, well, just listen to our song. Like,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
already did that.
yeah, exactly.
You know?
Oh, I
But
remember now.
I think they're doing fine.
I went to the gym, tattoos.
Yes,
And
Japan.
I was listening to IDM while working out.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
That's what
there
it
we
was.
go.
But I was, there was some other.
Or I think
Tokyo
we
shit.
threw.
Were you
Oh, reverse
smug?
racism. Yeah, reverse racism. Here
Oh,
we
yeah,
go.
yeah.
So I learned that there are a ton of bars that they don't allow foreigners in, especially around Yokohama, because the fucking Navy guys like are there,
Yeah.
and they would go and wreak fucking havoc. And they're like, you know what, dude, you guys are fucking banned. And
Yeah.
so like they've been banned for a long time, and,
Right.
and now everybody's fucked. Like because
you could just be some random dude from Spain, but because
you look a certain way,
Yeah, yeah,
and then they're like, "Oh, sorry, dude.
well.
We tried that out and it didn't work."
I don't blame him.
That's like a car show just being, you know what, we're not going to allow Mustangs anymore because you guys just come every time.
Then you have like Ben Roget,
seen-
right? He's like, "Yeah, all right, he's a fine Mustang guy, but I'm
You've seen
sorry,
what
dude."
happens. You've seen what happens when
Yeah.
you guys show up.
I was driving home from the aquarium the other day. Nick and I were driving home, and on it's this whatever Aptos, there's this on ramp, and it comes down from this bridge, and there's like just a little part you
Whoop-de-doo.
can fly off, and this Mustang it just happened to fly off the highway. It was like on its roof on the side on the highway.
Oh, you
but-
didn't see it happen.
No, but
You
it was
came
on
up
the side of the highway, so he obviously fell off of the top.
Whoa.
Or he
close
or
to,
he messed
yeah.
up and went up on there and then flipped it.
Nice.
But yeah, it was a little rainy, so
oh, right. Right.
you know,
Right.
Mustang drivers.
Well done.
Gets dicey real quick.
Yep.
Do you guys want to do questions now or do updates and then questions?
Actually, I wanted to talk about, the new Mustang.
Okay.
I want to hear it.
Yeah, I'm curious. I mean,
Better in person, I
Well,
heard.
Lane's seen pictures.
Better in person.
Better in person. We both agreed. There's a lot of stuff going on that I think you can tweak. Like there's piano black in the grill that's very heavy and thick,
God,
and
it's so unnecessary.
and like there's just stuff like that where maybe you can option it out. But yeah, I mean it's basic. I like one comment. It really like resonated with me. It's like it looks like they had to change it, but didn't necessarily want to.
Dude,
That was
that's
well
so
said.
common in like
well said.
a lot of cars are like that,
Yeah.
right? We've talked about that before. Like cars that got worse in the Rev 2 or the Rev 3.
Yeah, it's like it gets stale and they think that they're not going to get new buyers unless they do something. But I wanted to say, design notwithstanding, but the overall a Mustang GT is such a gnarly, capable car.
Yeah, it's
a
awesome.
sports car.
I mean, it's a real sports car, like Brembo brakes, Recaro seats, everything's like pretty dialed.
And still manual,
Right-
and
right out of the
and
box.
still-
Independent rear suspension.
I don't know if it has limited slip standard, but
I don't know if it's but
they have super.
they
They're
definitely
really
have packages
customizable.
where they have it.
You could do
It's
different
like-
final drives on them and stuff.
pretty
like,
good looking. I mean, I know it's not maybe as good as the last generation, but
Yeah.
a damn capable, like out of the box car.
Yeah.
yeah, it's just
and
really
they're actually
big.
not that heavy compared to like a BMW.
I bet
They're
you've
like the
gotten
same.
lighter too, right? Because there's so much more
think they
plastic
have. I
haven't
and
looked.
composites, but
Yeah.
the styling, it takes a little getting used to, but in person, it just looks a little more kind of menacing. And
I think it's as far as like the styling, it's like it's a Mustang. I don't know. It didn't.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't feel like they departed that far.
No,
like someone.
no.
It's so funny. Like Lieberman put this thing. It's like Camaro and it side by side, and he's like, not saying they look like the same car, but the green one's the Mustang or something.
right.
I'm like, it's still the same Mustang as before. Like the roof line does not look like a Camaro. Like the Camaro roof line is totally different.
That
it
little
kept the
quarter
Mustang
window,
roof line.
the rear quarter windows kind of has that same profile.
It's the same as the last Mustang.
I know. It's like, but it's similar to the Camaro.
But
even
those
that
cars are
generation.
always the
That's
pony
what-
cars
that's what
have
I'm
always
saying.
looked like
It was the same
similar.
size.
They've always
Slightly
been the same
different,
size. They've always been kind of the same. They've
And
always
it's
had
the
the same
front end and rear,
formula.
and then make the
Yeah.
difference really like.
Yeah, so I mean that was like that's just one of those ones I don't get, but because it really hasn't changed that much. They changed like the front end treatment if you look at that the most, and then I kind of like the rear, that
kinda
crazy
do.
kink.
Did you like how fuzzy that picture was?
I kind of do. I kind of
that
do.
one that I
love it.
busted?
But I like how aggressive
I know.
that cut in is.
The only
And actually, if you're next to a what's the electric Porsche Taycan,
Taycan.
it has a little bit of that, but it's on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
But that's kind of a cool
kinda
element.
And
yeah.
the only problem is you look at that in a picture and it looks interesting, and then you get up close and that like the taillight is so cheap. It's like one piece.
mean,
there's no like.
Yeah,
This is Ford stuff.
It's like
Ford
American car. Yeah,
I know.
typical.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't dislike it. I think that I am getting used to it. I definitely still prefer the previous gen styling over it,
I
but
think
I feel
the
like
4-cylinder one looks better,
But I-
right? Or the 6-cylinder, like the front end's not as like open.
Oh
I
right.
didn't see it.
It's a little more
Yeah.
like they actually are just a little. They're claiming they're a little more distinctive,
And there will be like a million grills and bumpers and things
Yeah,
to
and like
there's
always,
right.
these cars have a tremendous amount of aftermarket support.
So
I'm sure
it's-
you can check a lot of different boxes.
But yeah, the piano black bugs, the wheels weren't my favorite.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise it's just impressive.
Why can't they get wheels right?
I
It's
think
not
the
hard.
GT350R had great
That's
wheels.
fine, but that's only because they were stuck with
I know.
a certain design that Carbon Revolutions only makes one design
Yeah,
wheel.
I
And they're
know.
like, okay, here's
and they're
your
very
wheels.
good looking wheels.
Yeah, they're
but,
just a 6-spoke or something like that, right?
Simple 6-spoke. I know. Well, I think all those cars, Camaros are the same. They just can't leave it alone.
Well, it's also like, I mean, the majority of their buyers are really young, and I feel like it's kind of that funky techno crazy
want
shit.
that,
like
yeah.
it's got a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, I think it definitely will grow on me. I bet it drives amazing. I think it'll still feel very big, just based on the dimensions.
Yeah, for sure. I remember
it's- yeah.
Art, when you went to the Michelin thing
Yeah,
and you drove the Mustang and then you hopped in like
Cayman S.
Cayman S and you were like, oh my God. It was,
Yeah, it's like, okay, like, we're mobbing in the 5.0s, and it's like, this is like, yeah, this is great. It's like, it's actually really well balanced and blah, blah. And then I got into the Cayman S and I'm like, oh, this is a sports car. Like you forget how sharp and tight everything is and focused, and like that car is good. It's very capable and everything, but it drives like a big ass car, and like, it's more GT, but still very capable, has a shit ton of grip and all that. But
see this one, Warren? It
Is
looks
that
a little more like the old.
That's the
last
4-cylinder?
year's.
Is that 6 or 4?
It's like a 6 or 4, but see how it.
yeah, that'll be the rental car, right?
See how the front
We're
is
gonna see a
little
lot of
more
those.
like the old
Yeah.
one.
yeah,
It looks fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me.
I
That's
mean,
what I was
there's
saying.
nothing like.
No,
It's not polarizing
Yeah.
when you're like, oh, the last, like, is it
I know.
really? I don't know.
it's not
But
surprising
there's
at
the
all.
one you guys saw.
Yeah. So we were in Detroit. We'll get into that later, but we were contemplating going to the North American International Auto Show, which was happening at the same time in Detroit. But it felt like it's kind of like a lot of work to go. And
It's also not what it used to be.
I read this article in the Jalopnik about it, and they laid it out pretty plain that it was awful. So, but we wanted to see the new Mustang because we're here. Let's just try to get in and check it out. And so we were kind of thinking about it. And then the next morning, there was a Mustang display next to Radwood, and Ford brought the new Mustang
cool.
and some other cars out of their
So they
collection.
brought the show to you.
yeah.
Brought it right to us.
Yeah,
And it was
so
cool.
that-
We got to
yeah.
see it that was at sunrise too, in like a
Mm-hmm.
pretty good parking lot. So people were interested in it, and we kind of had it to ourselves for a little bit. So it was kind of
That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the interior is cool. It's actually much nicer. I mean,
Yeah,
I know
you
it's a
like
Mustang.
that big old like.
It works.
screen,
Yeah,
man?
like it's it's just
not very
and I have to
sports car
accept
looking.
it. I have to I feel like this is happening. I've
Yeah.
given in.
It just doesn't look like a sports car.
Yeah, it feels.
I mean, I guess it's never. It's not
Oh.
a sports car. It's a punny car. Or whatever.
yeah,
the
And they've always had a kind of tall dash.
yeah.
the
Always high sills.
the cluster thing is rad though. Like
Oh, yeah?
that they gave that. Did you see that they do the Fox body cluster as an option? Like you can, it's digital.
I did see that.
So you
yeah.
can select that, and it looks the
Yeah.
same, and it has the same lights and stuff. Like, I really appreciated that. I'm like, oh,
That's
they
cool.
get it. Like somebody there fucking gets it finally.
I have I really have not beyond like looking at the headline and like 3 pictures. I haven't really
either.
cared.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's not like a big.
You know what's funny is they also unveiled racing versions of it.
They look amazing.
They look great, right? But that means that they had to have this car like done year ago in its final form, modified it into racing. All these different things are happening, and it never leaked. Isn't that crazy? Like,
Dude, yeah,
you
it amazes me how it takes like an iPhone leak. They usually leak very close to launch, and like how tight everything is.
it's amazing.
But yeah,
I think they leak when they want them to leak.
yeah.
Well, this one felt like I didn't hear anything
That's a
about
big
it
thing.
until all of a sudden it was, here's
was
the
it
new
the
Mustang.
last Mustang that leaked it was like
Maybe that was a bigger change or something. But yeah, I don't
I
know.
don't remember. But I also I was going to use the phone analogy too. Like it's what you're describing. Like you have to give it to some other department to fuck with it. And like with consumer electronics, especially phones, they have to share the dimensions and like they have to provide them so they can make cases and like all that. Maybe now they can just like laser scan it and get pretty like accurate dimensions and not have to share the physical device. Because when I worked at GoPro, we used to have to like hand them like prototypes before anybody saw them, like so they can start building mounts and shit. And like that's a place where it's very dangerous, right? Like now you have it in front of a whole other group of people, and it takes one person to like. And but it is
their
amazing.
phone at a bar and
Oh, that one's classic.
yeah,
the iPhone.
that was the iPhone, right?
it was like iPhone.
I feel like that might have been planted, right?
Yeah,
Because that was the original iPhone too, and it created like like the gnarliest like buzz around it, right?
Yeah,
That was a big deal.
and that was the thought back then.
Like make it go viral.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always like the celebrities telling TMZ where they're going to be, right? Like, we're going to be coming out of this.
Oh, is that how Kirkham does it?
Is he on TMZ?
Dude, he's been on TMZ and he's on paparazzi shit. What? Pretty funny.
Or what?
Because his wife's a supermodel or his girlfriend. I don't know if it's his wife now.
Oh. Yeah, I guess that's what they do now. They'll say like, hey, I'll be at this restaurant, if you happen to come by, blah, blah, blah. So here I am thinking that paparazzi are total jerks and assholes, yet they're literally being summoned by the very people they stalk.
I'm guessing it's not like the highest end celebrities that are
No.
I don't think like
Obama?
yeah, or like I don't think Brad Pitt's like calling this paparazzi.
Yeah, De Niro is like, hey,
Yeah.
De Niro.
you guys, I'm at the Chick-fil-A on Sepulveda.
Yeah.
Oprah.
Hey, I'm going on a walk with my dog. So be sure to be outside.
I'll be in sweatpants at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
So
Juicy
this is
sweatpants.
this is totally aligned with this, and I'm going to embarrass Warren a little bit, I think. But when we were the first real sit-down meeting we'd had with Hagerty in Amelia Island, we're eating lunch outside, like at the Ritz, and one of our listeners, like I can't remember his name, I'm sorry, but he walks up, sits down next to Soon, who's the CMO basically, and says like, I'm a huge fan of you guys, like so awesome. Like I'm stoked to have you guys like join us here in Florida because we're about to put a Radwood event. Like I'll see you guys tomorrow, like whatever, like super nice guy. And as soon as he got up, we're like, thanks dude, whatever. They're like, how much did you pay him to do that? And like, we're rarely recognized, like, and his timing was amazing.
That's funny.
It was so rad.
Yeah. He had no idea who we were talking to, but it was just, I'm such a big fan of the podcast. And
That's pretty
Radwood.
good.
Yeah. And I'll let you guys get back to lunch. And yeah, it was a nice plant.
Yeah,
Planted
nice.
him.
just like with the paparazzi or whatever.
That's right.
Brad Pitt
And then
the
they
paparazzi.
decided to buy Radwood.
Yeah,
Just like that.
there you go.
So like, we can't let this guy go. These guys are big.
Yeah.
You guys want to do questions?
I do.
Let's do it. You cannot sort the questions today. Just want to throw that out there. I think it's every other week. Are we
Seems
on?
like it because when I was gone,
Is this crazy or
you
what?
couldn't do it.
Why is
or
this?
something.
When Lane was gone, I like. Don't you always feel like everybody says you have like a good side, right? Like I feel like my left side's a lot better than my right side.
Oh, then you're stoked on your position.
When I was over there, I felt like I was greasier and like all of a sudden like I was missing teeth or something. Like
I mean,
just
that's
looked all.
from all the meth, but I wouldn't blame.
So that's the meth chair is what's happening.
Yeah,
Have you seen
that's
that? There's a craze on Instagram where people have this filter that like makes their face
Symmetrical or something.
symmetrical, or it says like this is how people see you.
Yeah, I don't
I
understand.
don't
that
get
one.
it. These
Yeah.
kids and their filters.
I know.
I've never done a
TikTokers,
filter.
tickety talkities.
It sounds
Clickety
like
clack. This is what the fuck I want. Have you ever done a filter, Lane? Blue eye filter? Oh, your green eyed friend said he'd come back.
Oh,
with money.
I hate the blue-eyed ones. Yeah. I've messed around with some of those filters.
Oh yeah, you
Like,
have.
little kissy face. or
Like
which
no,
one?
the
Goblin?
Snapchat. There was you remember the one going
Young
around with
ET?
me? Remember the one going around with me as a girl?
Oh,
Ricky.
Oh dang, yeah, that's
Ricky
cool.
boy took it.
Yes, you were gorgeous though.
Yeah,
You're gorgeous.
but that was quite a while ago, right? That was on Snapchat, I believe.
The banana.
I bet you go deep into
Oh, dude, I'm
filters.
so filtered.
Yeah.
So filtered.
Yeah.
IDM, dude.
IDM.
All tied together.
Intellectual.
Intellectualfilters.com.
Bobby Reed with the car. Oh, so if
I
you
think
want
it's intelligent,
It is intelligent.
yeah.
which is even worse. Intellectual sounds right.
Whoever
makes more
coined
sense.
that sucks so
That
bad.
guy's not that smart either.
No,
Because
good one.
intellectual is a way better name than intelligent.
Agree.
I don't know. Intelligence not bad. Okay.
It's kind of
If you want to leave questions for us on Instagram.
Or share IDM artists.
Tell us your favorite IDM artist. Bobby Reed with the Cars says, what's your biggest surprise for this F1 season so far?
Mine is that Daniel Ricciardo hasn't,
that he's going to die, basically?
That he basically is just nowhere. Yeah,
I
I just every week I'm like, until recently, I was like, he's gonna come out.
I think they've either sabotaged him or he's just doesn't care.
And last year I was like, all right, he went to a new team. He can't get along with this car. They're making a new car next year. He'll be all good.
Yeah.
And then he comes out of the box. He's actually not that. And then it's just like, he's,
Yeah, he just can't.
I don't know.
Doesn't mesh.
I think mine is Mercedes took so long to get up to speed.
Oh yeah,
they were surprisingly mediocre for.
Well, and it was even
races.
They're sandbagging it.
I know. Well, that's what I figured too, and they really weren't. So that would be my surprise.
My surprise is something that shouldn't be a surprise, but that Ferrari just keep fucking blowing it. And when is that going to change? How? What? I don't get it.
Bernardo or whatever his name is, has got to be out of the.
You know what though?
He's got to be.
He's fucked. I can't imagine that they're going to keep him, dude. This is
seems so
bad.
passive and not. Yeah.
And they're like, well, what went wrong? He's like, well, nothing really went wrong. We didn't make a mistake.
We're just not fast.
Yeah. And they're like, well, I don't. Yeah. He goes, no, our car just not fast enough. You're like, well, you guys were in first place.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not good.
It's crazy.
Connor Coons says, have you ever done so much while you're in there on a project that you wish you'd never gone in there?
Dude, I've had a lot of those.
I have too. Basically, every project I start, I go, well, I wish I wasn't doing this right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's not really while I'm in there, but.
And I'm like, oh, great. I broke a bolt.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's so many things like that. Just with swapping these wheels that the studs are too long, that seemed like the easiest project, just swapping wheels.
Yeah,
and now I'm taking the studs out, I'm grinding them, I'm having to refit them, I'm measuring stuff.
And you still didn't get it right.
No, I still have to go back to 14s to get it over here so then I can go.
Or why don't you just have them send you the right ones? That's the whole thing.
I don't know what I need. I don't know the depth.
It's because the mounting pad is a certain
It's because
thickness.
the wheel is thicker. The center of the hub is thicker than
Can't you measure
14s.
it?
Hard to get a caliper in there because I have to go into the bolt hole.
Yeah, but you can't. Can you go through the hub hole and then get it a caliper somehow?
I could probably do that. Yeah. So I need to take one of the 14s and the 15, measure them both, see if I can get that thickness. It's also an acorn style where it seats into the wheel. So
that's difficult. Yeah.
I'm not really sure exactly how long it needs to be.
Yeah, where you're measuring from. And
this is where forums are helpful. I just use them for searching. Now.
Maybe,
But it's just I'm sure someone put those wheels on this car before.
Maybe.
And then you'll just find out what they did.
Or I can just buy, if I had an actual auto parts store with those on the shelf, I could just try them, and buy some sets.
Oh, the bolts, you mean?
Yeah. Buy one or two to try and then say, okay, that works.
I remember it was always hard getting bolts for wheels.
I think offsets and all that stuff is a total black art.
Yeah.
Dark art?
It's me, just darker. Exactly.
Yeah. It's rare.
Medium rare?
It's like cooking a duck. Yep. So Danger to Manifold adds on, he says, have you ever done the opposite and skipped a while you're in there only to have it come back to haunt you? I don't know if
that's a good question.
I'm trying to think. Well, this is more on Connor's tip here is I did the clutch in the van again, or had a shop do it, and then I replaced the fluid and everything in the transmission, and it made the second gear synchro harder to operate than it was.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a bummer. It was thought I was being proactive.
Put some red line in it.
Yeah, I need to do another flush of it. But
what did they use, Swepco or something?
No, it was just standard gear oil. I forget what brand.
Standard gear oil.
Yeah, it's gear oil.
It's white with black font, just
GL5. I forget what goes in it.
Yeah, Acme.
Well, it wasn't an additive or anything I didn't have anything special in it. It was just the standard replacement.
Red line. I've had that work.
Red line's where it's at for that.
But I know I've had that though, where I don't do something and then it
comes back.
Yeah.
Red line
a belt breaks where you're like, that belt's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that. Yeah.
But a lot of times because I'm wrapping things up and it's I need to replace a belt, but it's 5 o'clock or whatever, you know. I'm like, oh, well, screw it. I need to put this thing together.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that might be kind of like the van. I knew that the throwout bearing was making noise, and I just pushed it, and I thought I could do one more trip, and then I did pull the trip off, but it was super annoying. So, yeah.
Every time I've painted a car, I'm like, the project creep is gnar.
Project creep? Like where you just keep
that
more
project
starts
creep of like, it just adds
more
on
stuff,
and on. And then you're like, well, I can't just like, now I found like Bondo, and I can't just like redo that crappy Bondo. I have to like, you know.
Yeah.
And then you're like, God, I wish I never started this project.
I've never done that.
That's the worst. Yeah, body work is heavy like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
You uncover a lot on old cars.
Yep.
I don't have any like really standout ones. Like I think I'm trying to think of something where I think I did like, it was like a motor mount situation where like, I'm like, I have access to these two, and the other one looks okay, and I'll just let it be. But I was already there, like the subframe was off, all that shit, you know, and then like that one eventually goes, and then it's like I was almost there, you know, but nothing super crazy though.
All right. Queers for Gears says, what's the coolest car you remember one of your school teachers drove? Did it correspond to them being cool? I had a teacher who drove an old Jag that was amazing, but he was a huge ass. Mr. Fishburne was my junior year geometry teacher, and he was like super nerdy, just polo shirt tucked into khakis, that kind of guy, like big glasses and stuff. But midway through the school year, he pulls up in a white E36 M3 coupe.
Nice.
Brand new, like a 96, 97.
Wow.
I was like, hey, how can you afford this? You know, it's an expensive car even then. But I could tell he was the type that probably like just squirreled away all his money.
That's like showing up in a new M3 now, which is up for a teacher.
It was crazy. And I still love Alpine White. And he parked it at our high school in SoCal. We had like a back parking lot by his classroom. It was just for teachers. And he kind of parked it right there on the edge, you know, so we could see it from the classroom. It was kind of a baller move. So yeah, white M3 teacher. He wasn't a mean or crappy teacher, but he just was kind of dorky and like by the book. Mr. Fishburne. Holler.
I bet he's like a
Lawrence
CCA something now.
Yeah, he was probably exactly.
Yeah,
Lawrence Fishburne? No way.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
Khakis.
Dude.
Yeah. Great actor
Cool.
too.
What was his name? Wait, what? Furious?
No, it was Morpheus.
No. Oh, no. Furious is...
Furious from Boys in the Hood,
From
right?
Boys in the Hood, yeah.
That's a sick name.
Yeah, Furious. So sick.
Kind of setting him up. That's like a boy named Sue, but the opposite.
Yeah. You're so badass. It's such a badass name.
Do you have any teacher
Yeah,
cars?
so the one that I really liked in period, and I still do, I can't remember her name, but she wasn't a teacher, she was a counselor, and she had W123 wagon, I guess an S123 wagon, black with like chocolate brown and leather interior, and she had sheepskin covers up front. And I remember at the time, okay, you got to give me a break. I was 15, 16 years old. I like that she had the chrome bunts on there. Like that, you know, that look.
Yep.
And it was super clean, and it had a gold pinstripe on it.
Nice.
And I was like, man, that is a sweet ride. And she was super cool. And she was the type of person that, like, I don't know if you had a relationship like this with any of your teachers, but like you would be like in the office and you would swing by and say hello to, you know? She was pretty rad.
Maybe pick a flower.
Maybe two. Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
I
can't remember her name, but she was
Maybe
really cool.
lay with or something.
Yeah. Maybe extracurriculars
Yeah, maybe, you know.
after schools.
Yeah, I was known to stay after class to see Mr. Alona's telescope, so, you know.
Is that what you called it? IDM, baby.
He showed me how to look at the sun. Yeah.
To look at the sun.
He also showed him what love was.
Yeah, he is actually one of my favorite teachers of all time.
I like it.
That's cool, dude.
Yeah.
I like it, dude.
That's
I like
nice,
looking
man.
at the sun.
Yeah, with the filters, you
Yeah.
can see.
No, I go no
especially solar
filters.
flares. Solar
I just
flares.
go magnifying glass.
Yeah,
Try to check
Yeah,
it out.
yeah.
Galileo style. Really?
Galileo.
Unintellectual.
like a
Kepler?
like a ship's galley.
Yeah,
And then Leo. Lane,
you
any
got?
teachers with cars?
I
I know what you're gonna say.
I had a junior high teacher that had a Carmen Gia. That was cool. He was the shop teacher.
Did you have a Supra teacher
He was pretty sweet.
or something like
No,
that?
I never was super teacher. I had a Mrs. Doomstra, my friend Max's mom. She was the art teacher at Harbor High, and she had an 87 or 88 911 Carrera.
Oh,
Silver over black. She bought it. It was like, I think they bought it when it was like a year old from Canepa.
ballers.
Yeah, that was her daily.
Dang.
Public school art teacher.
Dad is a lawyer.
Just got brand new.
And, but like, I mean, it was a 10-year-old car or, 9-year-old car or whatever at the time.
That's sweet. Silver, you said?
Yeah, silver over black or blue. Nice. And then I remember they got new. I remember one day it came and it had like 8-inch Fuchs in the rear.
Nice.
Like they had like done little upgrades, but it was like really stock and perfect.
That's sweet.
Low miles. They had owned it since basically.
I wonder if they still have it.
I don't know. And then I had another teacher, and I feel really bad for forgetting his name because everyone knows him and loves him. But when I first started going there, he had a 968 in freshman year, and he had a split window Corvette and a 57 Chevy convertible, I think.
Nice.
And then he had a brand new Chevy 4x4 extended cab pickup with a lift on it. Like, I mean, that was a cool truck at the time.
Yeah,
it was
for
like
sure.
Still
Pretty cool.
Yeah, so he had all of those, and then he didn't have the 968, and then he had a ZR1 when I started. Then he had a 968. I forget what but he always had like a rad sports car.
This guy takes the cake.
Yeah, really. It's like,
and he had all those other things too. So.
I think I've seen him at a Radwood. All right, Reg Tanj says, when looking to purchase your fun car, is there a mileage, whether low or high, that automatically disqualifies the car from your options, regardless of whether the car has been extensively maintained and cared for? He goes on, but that's the question.
I saw it was a really long question.
Yeah.
No, there isn't for me.
So 300,000 miles on a 911, but it has a binder full of records. You're fine.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
A million miles, I'm fine. A
Million
miles is rad. It's a cool story, dude. You want a million mile car?
300,000 is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would probably keep looking. I don't think I would look to buy that model. I mean, unless it had something else going for it, but just based on mileage alone, I think I would not want that.
Yeah, I wouldn't care at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the car, right? Because
like a Volvo 740, I'd be like 250,000 miles, but a stack of records, I'm fine. But I don't even know what else are we looking at?
VW Bug.
A BMW M3 with 250,000 miles, I would not be down.
Which one?
Any,
Really?
pretty much.
Why?
Because I feel like they're not as long living. I would want to do the mileage before. I want to have a car that has a little more life in it. But the Volvo, like a red block or whatever, is going to.
But engines are replaced and stuff. Like your BMW doesn't have like 300,000 miles. The E30.
Yeah. I wouldn't buy. I wouldn't look for one like that.
Well, I feel like it depends.
TMU lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because there are really high mileage E30s out there, but it's like if interior is preserved as well, like all of the things, if there's upkeep, right? But like I feel like the E36s, like those just the interiors fall apart. So you're basically in a place where even if it looks okay, like everything is loose and creaky, and like and if you, I guess like a well-maintained, low-mileage car that's been garage kept is going to have less of that. I can understand.
Yeah,
that.
but I guess a lot of high-mileage cars, it's because they're really just like hitting the highways, and you're on these roads that aren't fatiguing chassis and aren't doing these things that
Yeah. Unless it's a car. So there's also cars that are just, we don't really look for these, but let's say it's like a Camaro or a Mustang or something that's meant to be kind of romped on,
like an E36 M3.
I
feel like that's also
that
that
aren't drag racing and blasting. I mean, I don't know anyone who does, but yeah, I guess it's the type of mileage.
But engines and transmissions, that's like those are the service things. Those are the things you look back at and you're like,
and
okay, it had a full rebuild like 6,000 miles ago.
That's great.
Or whatever.
If it has that,
there's bushings and all of those.
But I think that's what they're saying. Like everything else is like checks out perfect.
Mechanically really dialed, right? Like I don't. I mean, it depends on the car, but for the most part, I don't think it's an issue. I think,
and you are getting a deal usually on
and
a
it's
car
money
with
in, money out,
yeah.
right? It's like you're going to buy that car, and it's going to cost the same when you go to sell it. So it's like, I don't think unless you're
spending less up front, you're selling it for less than like the high market.
And so you're basically I mean, there's like an investment opportunity maybe if you find something really low mileage and get a deal on that. That's one thing, right? But there's also like the barrier to entry, and if you want to enjoy something and it's like you want to experience a car, like I don't know, like the mileage is kind of irrelevant, right? If you have all of that stuff going for it. But I feel like it's a weird place. Like I feel like all of those things, I want the interior to be commensurate of that other service, right? It's like keep the whole package really nice.
But I mean, that gets back to like mileage being less important to you or to me than like if a car is left out in the sun in Bakersfield, like not in the garage and just getting like tattered, or like, but it has like 10,000 miles on it. It was never driven, right?
Yeah, we've seen like weird, obscure American cars that have 30,000 miles, but it's rusty and needs paint and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I on the flip side of this is I don't want a car that has been just mothballed, and then I'm going to have to do all of this shit. So if it has super low mileage and it's a deal, it's not a deal because you're going to end up
that super and low mileage car. That's the thing. It'll like that's the gift or that keeps on giving because you're going to drive that thing and then all of a sudden another hose is going to rot out.
Exactly. I would if I had the choice of
one or the other.
The 20,000 mile car that needs everything, or the 200,000 mile that has a stack of records.
Yeah, it's a weird balance, right? Like you have to. It's like the cars that have like 60 to 70 that are maintained and like well driven are great, right? That's ideal because it's actually been, like had fluid circulating. All the seals are actually pretty decent. So Camisa and I don't know if it was Camisa, I think, and D-Tam Scott and a couple other people went on this like purchase / rally. Yeah, they went on I think they went to Stelvio, but they bought a 190 16 valve. I think he and actually I don't know if I'm allowed to disclose who bought it, but anyways, they went and got this car and it had been sitting for 15 years, I think. And the guy passed away and it was sitting in a garage, and they went to a place and basically did a PPI and did everything that was listed. And they broke down every day for like 2 weeks, like after everything had been done. Right. And like they shook down all the shit. Right. And like, it was a really, really nice car, or is a nice car, but like a car like that is the worst. Right.
Yeah.
Where it's like, that's not ideal.
Not ideal. Ben Roget says, what's the most egregious error you've seen a TV show or movie make regarding a car? Fast and Furious excluded.
Ooh, I have a good one. I don't remember the name of the movie. It was, sometimes I watch a lot of movies in my career.
Does it have the name Dallas in the title?
No, but that's
my number one.
You can talk about that. Yeah. I'll leave that one out.
Sweet.
This one was, they were driving, I believe it was the Golden Gate Bridge. They were driving across. So it was this whole movie. They're in a car and they're traveling to Oregon or something from SoCal. Mm-hmm. And it's over like a few days. They were in, I forget what the car was, like a Mazda 323 or like a Honda Civic or something like that. And it was red.
Okay.
And then it shows them going across the Golden Gate Bridge. And all of a sudden it's a totally different car. Same class kind of. Right. It was like a Honda Accord. And it was like they were in a red car, and now it's like a burgundy car. The whole rest of the movie, they're in that car.
The burgundy car now.
Yeah. It just
there was no reason.
There was it changed. It was like
that car wasn't
we
available.
lost our car. It broke down.
323, man. Something happened to that thing.
Yeah.
I want to know the backstory.
Dude.
That's crazy. For me, it's Dallas Buyers Club. I think is it Matthew McConaughey who's sitting at the table?
It's in his office.
Yeah, in the office, and it was set like in 84,
1986 maybe, 86, or 84 or whatever.
Some in the mid 80s, and there's like a Lamborghini Aventador poster behind him. It's so bad. It's fucking like orange metallic.
By the way, Academy Award winning movie.
Absolutely.
Best actor. Up for Best Picture. I don't know if it won. Like
small details.
So crazy. Small details, but that's
a big ass one.
No, it was like
those people, I know, but it's
like
so egregious.
It was like 3/4 of the screen. I felt for a second there. It's like there's a modern supercar in this movie.
I can't think of one that stands out, but one thing that bothers the shit out of me is headrests missing.
Oh my God, it's so bad.
And I know, way more obviously, we all know why they do it.
Just shoot through the headrest. Like I don't care. Like, you don't need to have their whole head.
It's fine. We get it.
We know, like, cars have headrests.
I know. Exactly. That bugs me. But it's not specific to a movie. It's just like in general.
I like on the Volvos, all they do is they usually don't take the whole headrest off. They just take well, I guess they've probably already fallen off. But you know how they have the click-in pad?
Oh, right.
So the pad's off. So you can still, you have the...
That's weak, I tell you. Fueled by Metal One says, keep cash or crush? Urus Performante, Ferrari Puro Sangue, or Aston Martin DBX 707?
What does cash mean?
I don't know. Sell, I guess.
Keep,
Sell.
cash. Oh yeah, keep, like drive once.
Yeah.
Or crush. And what are the choices again?
Urus Puro Sangue. How do you say it? Puro Sangue?
Yeah, I'm
Sangue.
keeping the Ferrari. I'm killing the Lamborghini, and I'm driving or cashing
You're selling the DBX.
I think that the Urus would be more fun to drive than the Aston.
Oh no,
I don't want. I see. That's the thing. This is kind of like when Larry was on last week. Like I
don't want to be seen in the Urus. I don't like Urus.
But you want to drive it once, right?
No, I would rather drive the DBX. I'll drive the DBX.
Kill it.
Dude, it's just like it's such a weird thing for me. Like I can't get, and it's stupid for me to even think about like the car this way. But it's definitely the DBX for me to keep because I feel like it's actually the most usable, and I also like the way they look, and the materials are super nice and all that, and apparently it drives really well. But the Ferrari, just like I feel like it's stupid, but it's less practical, right? And like that's like I want like out of this car, I want it to be kind of practical. That's kind of like my
I agree with
The
you.
Urus might be the most practical.
No, dude, the rear headroom is all fucked up. I've sat in them, and they have really high floors, and I mean it's definitely a super sporty thing. I mean, but I agree with Lane. I can't be seen in it. That thing's
So
stupid.
ugly,
So
it is.
I crush that. I'll sell the Puro Sangue,
Yeah.
and then I'll keep the DBX.
DBX has
Keeping the
nice
DBX.
materials. I can't buy that.
Aston
Aston, yeah.
leather.
I mean, come on, dude.
It's going to be Jaguar
Yeah, it's Jaguar,
Plus.
like barely plus.
Jaguar
I'm
Plus.
down with that.
I'm keeping the Ferrari. I'm all in on Ferrari. I'm killing the Aston. I want to drive the Urus one time. One time
and sell it.
That's all I want.
Weird. All right, I'm gonna get some more beer. What's
Weirdo.
beers?
I trip out, dude. I was next to someone yesterday in a Bentayga, just some lady. That's her car,
I know.
and you're like, what? Like what? Where
How
did
did
that,
you come
How did you
to
come
that?
to that decision?
I'm totally with you.
So weird.
But
to
you know
me.
what the alternative to that decision was?
What?
Was a Tesla. It was like they probably
It probably was, even though the price point is so off.
It
right?
doesn't matter the price point. It's
Yeah.
just the fact that they want to have the latest stylish thing, right? Does that make sense?
That's pretty common.
I think
Yeah.
you're probably
the
right.
gadget.
But the Bentayga, that feels like such a fallback.
And it's so
It's so nothing.
doesn't look good.
No, it's just
It
like,
doesn't-
I haven't sat in one. I mean, like that's like a big thing for people,
sat
right?
in one.
Interiors, like people who are not car people.
It's nice.
like it's
but
just like visibility. Like
I just
they're
can't
feeling
imagine
there.
sitting
they're
in,
fine, but
and
like
going from a Mercedes equivalent, like whatever it is, the GLS or I think it's GLS.
or a Cayenne or
GLS for 150 and then getting into the Bentayga for 350. There's no way that
No,
it feels it's just an insane amount of money to just
Cullinan,
waste.
I can see.
Yeah.
well, there is status as part of all this.
Yeah, but they don't even. That's what I'm saying. They don't have like a presence.
That's
really.
what- yeah.
But just
That's the weird
badge,
thing
right?
about them.
Yeah, I think
It's
your point is a
Neither
good
does
one.
a Cayenne, right? But like people see a Porsche badge and they think it's a big deal, and
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
it's also-
and
but
it's
also-
not.
But
like,
it's also
that's
like
sporty.
good looking.
It's
you know?
sporting looking, right? And the
Yeah.
Bentaygas.
I agree.
compared to a
I don't like
Bentayga.
them, but I guess that's my only guess. Is like,
Bentaygas are so bland.
they're
looking.
just they're
It's not like horrible looking.
Yeah.
It's not like the worst looking thing ever. But it just
bland
does
is the right word.
It does not scream 300 grand or whatever they are.
Yeah.
Bland is definitely the word.
I totally agree. Yeah, that's a very, very good point. Let's talk about Detroit real quick.
Detroit.
I gotta look something up while you're talking.
Oh, also Tesla Model S plaids.
Yeah.
I keep running into them in the slow lane going over Highway 17. And I look over and they have that yoke steering wheel.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going like 45 miles an hour through a turn.
And
I'm just thinking like, why?
1,000 horsepower.
Yeah. And why did you check that box? It's a total AMG box, right? It's like,
Yep.
and by the way, I have to have this stupid steering wheel.
Is that the default? You can't get
Yeah.
it? Oh, really? I thought it was an option. That sucks. I mean,
Yeah,
and even
that's-
worse if they optioned it out, right?
Yeah.
I saw one the other day too, and it was
crazy.
driving really slow. And I just thought to myself, because how much are those things? 200?
Like, no, I think they start at 150 or 159 or something like
Okay.
that. They probably go up to 180.
But maybe
or
if you wanted one today without waiting, it would be 200.
Well,
or
you're
something
not
crazy.
paying more because it's from Tesla, so there's no like
Oh, I see.
markup or
I see.
anything.
I see. Yeah. I just figured there'd be someone out there.
I mean,
selling
yeah,
one.
if you buy
Right.
it on the used
Yeah.
market, sure. there might be a premium.
Yeah, it's crazy. Doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
So how was Radwood? What are you calling it?
I know I gave in. While we were doing the award ceremony, I just started saying Radwood Detroit. I thought about it. I almost said something else. I'm like, fuck it. We're going to stick to this. Because it was Radwood. It was a Radwood presence at Cars and Community, which is the lead up to Detroit, the Detroit Concours.
I feel like I mean, I don't know. Maybe it should be marketed more as like Radwood at Cars and Community.
Yep.
Yep. Because it's there was people that were like that aren't we're like you did say Radwood Light, but people were like, oh, last year's was way bigger. You guys didn't get as many cars, and it's like, that wasn't.
And there, even though we specifically said it was a curated display of a certain amount of cars, and like everything is explained. My favorite one was this troll was like saying how we didn't get enough cars, so we just placed the cars all over the place to fill the lot. And I was like, wow, talk about completely missing the mark. You know, and like all we got all day was compliments on like how it looks so great.
I mean, a lot of people
like,
seem to like it, but there was
like,
a few people that like they think that you're like that we are. It's like we didn't do this in lieu. We didn't do this as a replacement. We did the only reason this happened is because of Cars and Community, because of Hagerty.
Yep.
Like we weren't going to do one in Detroit this year.
That's what I was saying.
So like that's why they got that show. It's not because Hagerty bought us that this
like
is
scaled
like
back,
a scaled back and more expensive show. It's like
no. We did a Midwest show in Cleveland.
Yes.
You could have come from Detroit, as many people did.
Yes.
We also got to do a show in Detroit as a bonus.
Because Hagerty owns all these events.
They invited us to come to the Concours.
Yes,
we did a rad 80 car show.
It was great.
And it felt the most of these light events we've done. We've done several. And this felt the most Radwood.
That's cool.
Show.
Well, dude, some of the cars looked crazy.
Cars were great. People like came correct.
Was that motorhome there?
That was at Lemons.
Oh, okay.
That thing was insane. Yeah.
So gross.
Yeah.
If you're not, go to Camping While Awesome Instagram and check it out. It's the grossest car I've maybe ever seen.
That little Mini 962 was that Radwood?
Hand built carbon fiber.
So sick.
The guy built it just in his garage.
Yeah, he said it was his favorite car growing up as a kid, and like he had this go-kart chassis, and he made the body, and he made a replica.
Dude, it's so awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It's like what even is it? Like third scale or something?
No, I think he said I might have been fifth.
Fifth?
Yeah,
it looks a little
but I don't.
Smaller. I mean, it looks bigger than fifth, but
it kind of does look bigger than fifth.
Because fifth is
Yeah, I'll check later, but it might have been third.
Fifth is only.
It was about that big.
That big.
It was about that big.
Oh,
yeah,
it was a little bigger.
I felt like it was bigger, dude.
Yeah, he could sit in it and
okay.
Sit in it.
And it was bigger than that.
Yeah,
and he looked like King Koopa in Mario Kart while he sat on top of it.
So we were at Comerica Park, which is where the Detroit Tigers play, in the parking lot out front.
That's a nice stadium, right? It's a newer stadium.
It's really nice.
Yeah. It's cool. And we had one big lot just to Radwood. Then on the other side was Lemons, 2 car clubs, some other vendors and stuff. Then like GM was out there test driving the Hummers. You could go on like I don't know if you could drive it, but you could definitely go on a ride in it.
Yeah.
There was a Mustang corral, like huge Mustang thing, some modern supercar stuff. But Radwood had a big lot, and it was 80 cars, but it felt like a Radwood. It was super cool, and people came correct. So
yeah, a lot of people dressed up, and the variety was killer. Like we had so much variety.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. There's like a cool little 2-door little like SUV display.
Yep.
It looks like where you have like a Jeep.
Yep.
Cherokee 2-door, and then you have like a
there's a Lada Niva in there. You see the Lada?
Yeah.
The Lada was like super clean. So that Lada is actually owned by Adam Hubers, who's a designer at GM, and he's a dude who like we've befriended over the years just from like doing shit online. And he actually was originally going to sell it, and BAT would not give him a reserve, dude. And that's probably the nicest one I've ever seen. Like it was absolutely perfect.
Wow.
And they wouldn't give him a reserve. Like he had to do it no reserve. So he's like, no. And so if anyone's interested in a super clean rad Lada Niva,
it was really cool. It had headlight washers and cool color.
Dude, you have this crazy looking Lancia, like
that one raddest import.
It was a Zagato, Lancia Zagato.
And it looks like it's like
a beta
convertible top.
It's like a
thing?
Bauer style.
Yeah.
But it's it was very
Crazy.
very very cool.
Countach,
And the guy had it. It was originally black, he said, right? And he had it resprayed this like navy blue, like back in the day, like in the early '90s or something. But it was super high quality. Like it was really well done. Yeah, that thing was cool. Yeah, we had the LBI guys came out. And I don't know, I'm confused. Warren, remember we looked it up? They have a 300ZX twin turbo in this like deep purple metallic. And I thought I had said that there was like one of 7, but then we looked it up and there was like 200 of them.
I thought it was like one of 3 or one of.
I think it said one of 7 on the window.
Oh,
so
maybe it
Maybe
was
that year.
or
with
maybe
a
with
manual,
T-tops
or
I don't know. But yeah, it was a manual T-top car.
because was that some special edition car?
I don't know, but
I
I
think it
it
was,
is. But it was like perfect. The interior is black, super clean car. I didn't ask how much they're asking for it, but they had that, and then they also had just a really clean Reggie body.
But there were some cool, as always in Detroit, domestic cars that we don't see often here. So Oldsmobiles and Dodge Colts and Omnis and some cool like Trans Ams and
I saw a GLH.
then a really cool Ford Aerostar, which was kind of unbelievable in person because it was
Brown on brown on brown on brown
on
on tan,
cream
on cream,
tan
on all
on
sorts
brown.
of butterscotch.
Yeah,
People were super stoked on Escort, was it?
yeah.
there was a couple Escort
two
GTs.
Escorts.
Yeah.
Yep. My
So the
first
black
gen,
one.
Yeah.
We're gonna say your first gen. fetish?
The ones that I like, not the second gen.
Yeah. So the
Mazda.
black one with the pinstriping, it had like all this like shit on it from the designer. I can't remember the designer's name.
Yeah.
But it's the same guy who designed the Fox body.
and it was signed by him.
It was
like,
signed and it had a plaque on the radiator support. So I don't know what the deal with that
so
was.
weird. I know. And what a weird place to sign. Like a part that's gonna maybe have to be replaced for a crash or.
Well, not this one, baby.
No, not this one.
But yeah, it was a cool display, man. Yeah, we had, and then Ralph Gilles brought out his 205 GTI and Lancia Delta Integrale. I don't know if it was an Evo. I can't remember.
I found out the 300ZX thing.
Oh, what is it?
216.
Why is it 107 then?
This one's a turbo, and there's only 7 turbos.
Oh, that's sick. That's the one. That's rad. That's badass.
rad.
Yeah.
That car is really cool. Yeah, that's a really cool car. And then what else what did we have around there? DeLorean, of course.
DeLorean, and then
Slant nose turbo cab,
yep,
That's the red one.
the red one.
there's a Riviera
Testarossa.
Testarossa Monospecchio, the flying mirror car.
Riviera Blue 993.
Oh, that car was rad.
And then the Aston Martin Lagonda, which
I took like 4 pictures of.
yeah, we've seen these before, but I've never seen one this nice. I've only seen like a handful in person, and one
There's
we
that one
saw-
came to Radwood, LA, but it never came upstairs.
It
It
was
was
on
like
a
not
trailer.
under its own power.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this one was like a slate blue on red leather, and it was perfect.
Wow.
Drove in on its own power. Everything worked. It was immaculate.
I
Had
feel
great
like those
wheels.
are usually pretty wonky looking.
This thing was rad, and the owner is a director at Rivian. He's got some. Oh, did I not say that?
No,
wrong?
yeah, he's the director of quality or something. Like it's
Oh,
like
really?
it's like quality and perceived like something.
Hopefully he doesn't like base all that on his Lagonda.
No, well,
He's
I mean,
got a
but
weird
Rivians
collection.
are pretty nice, right? Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's like it's kind of cool because he's the guy who basically signs off on fit and finish and materials and like all of that. It's like not quality control. It's like perceived quality or some shit like that. I can't remember the title.
So it's like material choices.
Yeah,
and
but
stuff
that's so rad, right? Because like, and it's cool that he has all these cars. And like, he told it. We talked to him like the next day, and he like shared his collection with him, and it's like all Bentleys and Rolls Royces.
Oh,
and like,
wow.
He's got like a Corniche and he's got a Phantom drop head coupe, which is like one of my favorites. And that just shows you where he's at. He's not afraid of like crazy cars. The Lagonda drop head coupe,
crazy.
Corniche. And then he has
weird
this
collection.
Yeah, and then he has a Pontiac. It's like a Pontiac
oh, it's a 600 or 6,000.
SE all-wheel drive. And I think
Like
it's
an
a
80s
manual.
car?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
with the
no,
buttons,
it's like a
late
90
'80s, early '90s, but
like
the
a
buttons
90s.
on the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Oh, 90s or
Yeah.
Actually, I have a picture of it. But
It's
yeah,
like Rick Deacon's favorite car.
they only
probably.
made a few of them
ever.
too in all-wheel
Very,
drive.
very rare. It's probably absolutely the
Why?
nicest one. All-wheel drive Pontiac,
Ugh.
right? And he drove it to this event we went to. So, anyways, Radwood, that was Saturday. It was great. Super good turnout. Had a great time. It was great to see a lot of people that had come to the show 3 years ago. Some cool stuff came out. And then that night, there was this event party at the Creative College of Creative Studies, which is kind of like their Pasadena Art Center equivalent in Detroit.
Yeah.
So a lot of all design students, whether it's automotive or interior or whatever. So we started out at we got to this college and they had kind of an open house where all the design students had their stuff, like their prototypes, and it was really cool. There's actually a Zooks tie-in. They had sponsored some project of all these new designs. It was really random. But these crazy cars and flying cars and all that stuff.
It's funny because they look the same as when I went to school.
They kind of do. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all the same little models and and stuff like that. One idea we were kind of tripping out on was a hotel room it's like a cabin basically, or a little, I don't know, unit, and it's on a track. You get into your hotel room and the hotel room moves along through the wilderness.
Pretty rad.
Slowly, you don't even detect.
So, and then you get different
it.
perspectives of the forest and water features and shit every day. It's pretty cool, right? It would be really cheap to make.
It would work flawlessly.
How do you get out? We want to leave.
How does the plumbing
You just
work?
don't know where to go back? You don't want to go?
How do magnets
You have
work?
to wait till that next exit, dude.
Yeah.
You're on a train.
You go out for dinner and you're like, shoot.
Where's my room?
Where is my room?
No, you call it in advance. It's kind of like the Japanese parking structures. You put the numbers in and then it brings it back to you.
Okay.
Very good.
but this time, then it goes 100 miles an hour to get to you.
Yeah, it's well, you have to do it on your way home. It's like a what do you call it? What's your thermostat?
Thermometer, yeah.
Thermometers.
What the hell's I can't remember though.
So
Nest.
We start off in this downstairs in the kind of showroom of all these different projects, which is cool. We met the head of
an exhibition.
Exhibition. Thank you. We met the head of Ford Design. Sure.
No, he was
Global.
he's a platform guy, I think, wasn't it?
Really?
Shoot. Yeah. He's not
Platform.
yeah. Shoot.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah. Or I can.
Anyways, nice guy. Met him and his wife, and then Ralph Chills was there, and we.
Tsai Tang. Does that sound familiar, Lane?
Nope. And then you guys had a nice you watched a talk, maybe?
Yeah. So how
Tang.
Tai Tang, I think is his name.
Tai Tang. Chief Industrial Platform Officer.
What does that even mean?
He's a police
Platform
officer.
Police
He's an officer.
He's an
Officer
officer.
of the law.
Yeah. So we then walk in.
By the way,
Yeah.
oh, mine says days.
Mine does too.
Art says vibes.
Vibes, bro.
Yeah, dude. Days.
Days. What does that mean?
Dude, yeah, it does. All right. So then we walk out of that.
We're talking about Coors Lights, by the way. See if you visit our YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
Driving While Awesome podcast.
Yeah, if you listen, you could just see that I just tried to itch my eyebrow and I almost dropped my beer.
Nice.
And then we pointed out. So does this get revealed as the beer empties?
No.
No,
Just says it on
it's just
there.
there.
It's
Dude.
just there.
Oh,
Mine says days. Yours says vibes.
I don't know what.
And then it says chill.
Dude, vibes for days. That's what it is.
Oh, there we go. We made it.
All right. So then the whole party or in groups gets into a freight elevator, which is huge, probably, I don't know, 20 feet deep, big enough to move any car.
20,000 pound capacity.
20,000 pound capacity. And in that is a champagne bar and catering. And it's like a little lounge kind of party vibe. And then once there's enough people in there, they close the door and you go up 11 stories, smooth, opens up, and you go into what was now remodeled, but was GM's design center, I guess, with Harley Earl, his office, and where they had all the prototypes go through this room up until I think rather recently, probably in the 80s or 90s or something.
Yeah, it was like a top secret space where they would basically work on the cars and look at it in different lighting and just to, for design.
And so they had a turntable in the floor and they had a 50s.
2 turntables?
One microphone.
Yeah.
And they had a Cadillac concept car from the 50s.
I saw it. I think it looked cool.
So cool in
That's
person.
rad.
It was awesome. A Dynamo, I think it was. Cadillac Dynamo.
Sounds about right.
Bubble top, 2 missile.
Pontoon, fender,
Like
missile things.
double fins. A lot of cool details.
The interior was rad. Did you see it?
Yeah.
It was
A lot of-
that whole era was so inspired by the space age. Everything looked
Everything's
like jet
atomic.
and airplane.
George Jetson looking.
atomic
yeah.
rockets,
Yeah.
airlines, all that stuff.
All the gauges and everything were
Very, very cool.
Rocketeer
So you walk into
style.
that, and then they had a little bar and some other stuff, and it was all very fancy feeling. And then Larry Webster, who's the head of Hagerty Media, who's I guess sort of our boss in a roundabout way of this podcast, interviewed Ed Welburn, who is just recently retired from GM, head of design at GM for many years. And his last big project was the C8 Corvette. So he's been working on that for who knows how long that took. But I've seen him speak before at Greenwich, I think. Really nice guy, super smooth.
Yeah, very approachable.
Yeah, like the nicest dude. And anyway,
you ask him why the rear end of every GM car falls off?
He said it's because it's not him doing the work.
I did, and I kicked him in the nuts right before I asked him. Yeah, it was cool. And then also a dude from GM, who I do not remember his name, they had a talk. So it was Ford, Stellantis, and GM being interviewed by Larry Webster about the future of driving. So that's all that was.
What was the conclusion?
Yep.
They concluded, all right.
Some stuff happening.
Whippersnappers.
We had a meeting in the other room. We couldn't listen to the whole thing. So
Whoa, you had a meeting?
yeah.
That's crazy.
But it's that kind of place, it's a networking meeting kind of vibe, and then that was happening.
It was cool though. There's a lot of kind of felt like the who's who of the Detroit car scene, Oh, and I met Jean Lindamood Jennings. Does that name mean anything to you? Automobile Magazine, like David E. Davis, and she was a writer for years, wore glasses, like shorter hair.
Okay, yeah.
80s and 90s, legend, I mean, she's forgot more than we'll ever know.
Did she have her picture drawn?
Yeah.
In there?
Yeah. Actually, her face, she wore just the picture of a drawn face.
That's cool. Yeah.
That's how I recognized her.
Nice.
But she was on the shuttle with us, and I was talking to Tom.
Little strings.
Tom
with
Cotter.
twine.
We were talking to Tom Cotter, and he and Michael Allen Ross just did a freaking crazy trip.
Yeah, I know. With a Airstream.
Yeah, from Florida to Sitka, Alaska or something.
Yeah.
But they didn't film it. It's only going to be a book. So they got great photos and stuff. I mean, shout out to MAR, but I mean, that's what the thing you want is like a cool, long way round style.
Yeah, they should have had Hagerty follow them.
I think they tried, but it was a little out of budget. So
yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, adding more people.
Yeah, but anyways.
By the way, hell of a fucking whistle. Holy shit. She can whistle.
Oh, she's got a whistle.
Yeah, did you hear her whistle when she got out of the bus?
Everyone I meet, I ask them to whistle.
Why did she whistle?
No, I didn't hear it.
Dude, it was like ear shattering.
Why did she whistle?
So she got down, and I think it was her husband or whoever she was with was going the wrong way, and she whistled, and it was super loud. And she said, it took me, 6 months to get that good, but I've been doing it for years, and I can hail a fucking, a cabin Seoul, Korea in this winter or something, like some,
wow,
like
that's the hardest one.
Yeah, like she threw out some crazy weird scenario. It was a foreign country, and there was weather. I remember that was but whether it was Seoul, Korea or snowing, I don't recall. But
I wanted to ask her if she's still writing and stuff, but I felt like that would be rude if she was or
because
wasn't.
you didn't know.
Oh yeah, because you were. Yeah,
I'm not in the loop on. Yeah, I don't think she is, but she was at the event. So
yeah, I don't know. I think in terms of like the talks, there's like conjectures, but I feel like it's like the key takeaways were just more like challenges of the eras, right? And like now it's like making this change, right? Like the electric car thing, and like what that takes, and like how to make it interesting and and like engaging and fun for people that want an internal combustion.
Well, Dodge has the answer, right? You just make it like scream,
whistle.
You
make it sound like a vacuum. Well, he said it was what did he say?
It was a lion and a.
You were gonna say vacuum, but it wasn't a vacuum.
And a skill saw.
3 sounds combined, and one was a lion.
Yeah, definitely.
It was a lion. Wasn't there like a Star Wars thing in there? Maybe was it a lion and something Star Wars related? Wasn't it that jet fighter thing?
Yes. I think you're right.
Yeah, it was that, and then one other thing.
Yeah, they combined 3 sounds to make it sound cool. It sounds really cool.
Doesn't sound cool though.
Sounds really cool. That's what you're talking about. Art had some good chats with Ralph Gills, and we talked to Larry Webster a little bit. We're gonna get him out on a rally someday.
Nice.
Yeah, Larry's rad. Yeah, he's very aligned with us. He's like a total like driver, likes to do mountain, like just
what does Larry
carving.
drive?
He's got an Evora GT
and a 993
as his rally car.
He also has a 993.
993.
Yeah, he's got a 95. It's midnight blue, I think.
And I think he's got a bunch of other stuff too. But
yeah, he races he does like open wheel vintage racing and stuff. But yeah, he's like, it's so funny because he's like, dude, like he goes out with like, you know, a lot of these types, right? A lot of the Detroit kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Just industry types, but a lot of them are older. And they want to go on a cruise, kind of California Melee style thing.
Yeah.
And he just wants the mob. And he's like, all right, here's the thing. Here's the route. I'll see you guys at the end. And he just goes by himself. And I'm like, you should definitely cruise with us, man. Like, we'll have fun. But yeah, he's cool. He's a great dude.
Nice. And sounds like a good trip. I know you guys were there for a while.
We were just there, same as always,
4 days.
2 nights.
This was
but we then on Sunday went to the Concours, Detroit Concours, which is the first of its kind.
How is that?
It was a Concours.
Was it it wasn't at a golf course, or what?
No, it was at the Detroit Institute of Arts.
Yep.
Is that right? Big museum with like marble facade, pretty cool building on Woodward Avenue. But the grounds around it, while green and cool and everything, were kind of, it just was really spread out. It didn't feel like you were coming into a show. It was more just, I don't know, it was hard to, it didn't have a good flow like walking.
Yeah. This was a first attempt. I mean, one thing that is definitely deserves an honorable mention is that this is the first time they bring the Detroit Concours to Detroit. It used to be held outside of Detroit. And so that's pretty rad. And there was even like, we met with Keith and he was super stoked. He's like, I'm so happy to see this happen. Like it's a really big
Keith?
Oh, I'm sorry, Keith from LBI. So he just to like, for him, he's like a guy, he's a Detroit guy. Yeah. So that was rad. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of tweaks and, we'll see if it's there next year again. But it wasn't a huge Concours.
It's funny. You guys have been to a few Concours now,
Yeah.
Like, does anything compare even close to Pebble?
No. And you know what does it is the venue, right? It's like it feels so special to be on the 18th green on the ocean,
water,
with like it just feels very special, right? And this, while they were trying to tie into downtown Detroit, which I appreciate, they had the show was on Woodward, and they had bicycle barricades that are about come up to your stomach, and so you could see cars driving by, buses. People could walk by on the street and see 90% of the show without a ticket. So to then like pay to go in there, it felt weird. I mean, if it was a free event, it would have been insane. Like it was such a cool thing to do. But I just think next time around, they'll probably get more.
And bicycle barricades just aren't a good look.
Well, they had them covered with like black cloth that said like Detroit Concours, but still it
was just not, it was not the right move.
It just didn't feel, the wow factor wasn't there. But I think it's easily improved with a better venue and a couple little tweaks. But, and then the cars that were there, a lot of American stuff, which you'd expect. And then all of a sudden there was like a Delahaye coach built car, which won. And it was so obviously better,
But there wasn't like multiple Delahaye.
No, there's one Delahaye. There was a doozy, but it wasn't as beautiful. I mean, you saw that one, and there was a Jaguar that was pretty cool as well, but that was clearly like one of the more special cars. And then GM and Ford brought really cool, significant prototypes. The Buick wide job, some other Cadillacs and Buicks, and then the first Mustang or Mustang prototype, basically.
Oh yeah, I saw you take a picture of the rear.
Yeah, it was a funky, and it was like unrestored too, which is interesting. It had like a dinged rear corner and cool hardtop. Like
the hardtop, was a Mustang 2 they called it at the time, and it was definitely like it was a much lower, more speedster style with a really raked windshield, and the front end and rear end were totally different. As a matter of fact, dude.
Yeah, they're all like molded. I remember that car.
You know what I was tripping out on, dude, right now? Just thinking about it.
Yeah.
The rear on that car is what inspired the new car. It's got that pinch. It's got the that what do you call it? Like that.
It goes concave?
It goes concave in it.
Really? I don't remember that.
Pretty sure. Let me look at the picture. I'm trying to remember the rear.
They also brought out some like, that Cobra, that
it's the opposite.
Mustang 2 Cobra that I took a picture of.
Oh yeah.
So
wait, that was at the Concours?
Yeah, Ford had like this Mustang Stampede that they brought out a bunch of Mustangs and the new Mustang.
Cobra, what did you call it? Cobra pony?
Horse.
Horse. It's backwards. It's the opposite.
Oh.
It's actually it protrudes out in the center. But I was thinking about it though, like just even though there was a there were a lot of significant Ford prototypes and Buicks and stuff like that. But looking at like that Jag that we stared at for a while, it was like a coach built Jag, remember?
Yep.
And just, it really made me appreciate like that as a work of art, right? And it's like what we've talked about before, right? It's like, yeah, this is something that easily will survive, right? Like, because they're literally works of art and they're incredible, and the design is so rad, this particular one, and the details are just amazing.
Yeah, that was my pick for best in show.
Yeah, dude, I agree. Like stuff like this, and the more you look, like the more you see, and it was all like totally unique to that car. Like, just that type of stuff is rad, and the colors, and I really appreciated that. Like, I was, even though there were a few of those, and like it was very enjoyable, like. And then, you have your things, and this is totally subjective, but we walked past like the muscle car section, which was like all the shit. It's like the period to the Judge and the I don't even know, like
Concours. They had a muscle car section?
Yeah, just like they do at Pebble. Like they'll do.
Pebble doesn't really.
Well, they just did, right?
They did all those period hot rods, and then before
that's hot rods.
No, I know, but
wasn't there a muscle car
those
thing
are
too?
20s, 30s cars.
Not all of them, but yeah, they had that turbine. They do some American post-war stuff, and it's not very interesting a lot of times. But we gave it a shot. We tried to appreciate it for what it was, but
it's totally like that. My dad would have lost his shit, right? Like that's a different era, right? Like, but to us, it's kind of like, okay, like these huge, big old things with tiny, skinny tires that probably drive horrible, and like, they kind of look cool. But they have gigantic engines. And
Art
it's
was
like,
saying you wanted to drive. They had a arrive and drive, like where you can actually drive these classics or go on a drive. Mm-hmm. And they have kind of a variety. So, a Chevelle and I think there was like an old, 57 Chevy or something, but one was a Continental. Big Continental, and Art was like, I kind of want to drive one. Maybe we should go drive it. That's what I said. I'm like, I just went like this. And if you're watching, it's just, this is all it is: a thin steering wheel and
a lot of wiggling,
just a lot of like this. You know,
I just want to know all of it though, right? How's the throttle? Like, how's the throttle? How does it take off? Like, how does it ride? I can imagine, but like, I want to know. I want to try it. Like, I haven't driven a Lincoln Continental.
I've driven a Continental.
That is one cool thing about these Hagerty events is that
they drive like a. They drive like all that
for
stuff.
Sure.
All the, like it's just a big floaty
57 Chevy and a
one of these stats that Hagerty's really pushing is like hands on the wheel. They want to get people to actually drive these cars, and if they haven't before,
driving matters.
Keep driving, never stop driving. Mm-hmm. That's what I always say. But I'm excited to see what they do next year. This is their first year, and can tweak it a little bit and make it awesome. And on top of that, Detroit downtown, that whole area where we basically were the entire time, pretty rad city. Mm-hmm. It was cooler than I remembered when we were there.
It's improved even since.
I think so. Yeah, and it's like feels like, I don't know, something about it like old Americana. A lot of stuff is invented there. There was just like a lot of industry from forever.
There was.
And you can feel it. And it was cool. We stayed right downtown. We basically
we went to the Ford Piquet, the first Ford plant ever.
Yeah. First Ford factory was actually a staging area for the Concours with a bunch of like for shipments and stuff. And that would have been a cool venue too. It was just like a big open yard with, metal, kind of felt like Goodwood a little bit, where like those little awnings that you could park in. That's cool. But it was all like old.
Would that work for a standalone Radwood show?
Yeah, it's kind of in the ghetto. It's out in the middle of nowhere.
Ford Piquet plant.
Yeah, it might work. It reminded me of Cleveland, a Cleveland show.
Yeah, it's a little small. That's my only concern. It's like we could probably do like a 300 car show there.
It would work.
But
how did you guys drive by the lot where we had the last show in Detroit?
No, we didn't have a car.
But it's under construction now though. I actually talked to I can't remember who it was, but someone local. Like they went to the last show and they're like, yeah, they just broke ground like a few months ago.
Well, yeah,
finally,
and everything.
Yeah, it took forever. Yeah.
The other thing that they keep doing at these concours is a supercar class, which I don't understand at all.
Wait, the Concours?
New supercar class.
Our buddy Tim McNair was the judge of it, which I don't even understand what you're judging on. But
washed the car. Who washes the car the best?
It was a last gen Ford GT, a Aventador, a Huracan, a McLaren SLR 722, which or no, it was a Sterling Moss.
That is a 722 as a Sterling Moss.
Well, they made a 722 hardtop as well. Remember,
this was the Roadster.
This was the Sterling Moss.
Okay.
Badass car.
Yeah, it's no windshield basically.
I love them. And then a new Ford GT. And I think that's it. That sound about right?
No, there's a 512 BBI thrown in
there.
Yeah,
and a 512 BBI. So
so weird.
It's so weird.
Is that just all they could get or something?
I don't know. I don't understand it. And they did the same thing at Greenwich, and they had even more extreme cars there. They had like the Valkyrie and a Pagani and a blah blah blah. But then you're supposed to judge it, a 512 BBI versus a
Aventador
or a McLaren Sterling Moss. It's very strange. Having new cars to judge against is a very strange thing.
I mean, all those cars aren't new, but yeah.
But you know what I mean, like super modern, ultra
yeah.
modern.
Although you're saying that they're like that McLaren SLR is what, like?
Oh, not that one. He's talking about the Lamborghinis, right?
Like a Huracan Performante in purple.
Yeah.
You're like, okay,
yeah. No, I don't know. Definitely not our world. And that particular class is the strangest for sure.
We got to sample
at a Concours too.
The latest BMW electric car, which I imagine.
Oh, you did? The ugly one or the 4 Series or 3
one.
Series?
The SUV, big SUV thing.
Yeah.
It's so gross looking on the outside. There's not one angle where you're like, I want this car.
Yeah.
And then the interior is pretty lackluster. I kind of appreciate it for its minimalist. It's kind of like your car.
But the materials are really cheap.
And then we went and sat in the new Cadillac, the
the electric car?
Lyric's nice.
The SUV thing?
Electric
car?
Yeah, electric. And it's really nice.
Yeah,
it like felt way more upscale and rich, whereas I think the BMW is going more Tesla route, like minimalist. But so anyways, I don't understand those cars at all. We were trying to figure it out. It's like, someone who buys this, is it just for the badge? Because otherwise there's nothing BMW about this. It's just this box electric thing.
Big ugly grill.
Grill. It's terrible. One thing cool though, it had the center like iDrive just touch point was a big wooden panel now with buttons on it. And if you press the button, the whole thing moves up and down, but it knows what your finger is. So if you press like home, the entire panel goes down, but it knows you're pressing home. Does that make sense? And it's wood. It's not plastic.
I know what you're talking about.
I know, it's crazy, right?
It's haptic feedback. Like, so when you press it, it vibrates the whole panel.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, it's not plastic.
It's not, there's no detent for, like, it's just all flat, right?
How do you know what you're pressing?
That's what he's talking about.
That's what I'm saying. It knows that your finger's on that or like media or whatever.
How do you know you're on that?
Oh, it has it's
I have
laser.
eyeballs.
Wasn't it like laser cut or something into it?
My eyeballs see
Well,
this
that's what
thing.
I'm saying. How is it?
It's got it on it.
Cut into the wood?
Your eyeballs.
It's like it's raised.
Bamboo.
IDM.
Yeah. IDM. I was really annoyed that the F40 was behind stanchions. It really bothered me.
That was a dealer. A dealer brought an F40 in Aroma, and they had him behind red velvet ropes. And
At the Concours?
Concours. That was
You need to get out of here. They need to learn how to do a Concours.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Better venue will help a lot. I just the bicycle barricades on Woodward did not work, in my opinion, to make it a wow factor. Was missing.
But does it make you appreciate Pebble Beach more?
Yes, it makes me appreciate the quail a lot more. I think I was kind of like complacent on it, just thinking, it's a golf course and they put gold. But the quail this year,
big, right?
Whether you like the supercar unveilings or not, it was very impressive. Each activation was like a very expensive, well thought out build.
Yeah.
And there was nothing
like that. The quail
like that.
is Geneva. It's pretty gnarly.
It is. Because now
Geneva doesn't happen. It's like every 2 years, right? And it didn't happen last time.
You're saying in relation to supercar unveilings and things like that, right? Well, now, and especially like this latest, the North American International Auto Show. I want to call it the Detroit Auto Show, but
they don't do anything.
It's really sad.
Dude, that's where like NSX was like 300ZX, Mazda Miata,
LS400,
LS400, like all the biggest things, were, like mostly Japanese stuff, actually.
Because they were trying to get in front of our eyeballs, right? But now it
was always Detroit.
It's gone. And like McKeel Hagerty said it in his speech in Pebble Beach, he was like, Lincoln unveiled their cars, brand new cars at the Quail or Pebble Beach before they did it at Detroit. I mean, that's like kind of crazy. Or at LA or any auto show, really.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It feels like there's definitely a shift. And the fact that rather than renting out a huge hall space and building this thing at the auto show, you can do your own unveiling and send people there and get the same amount of reaction, right? It's like you don't need to have this big thing.
And you're out in natural light, and you know, it's like
So they changed this auto show from, it used to be in January in the dead of winter, and they moved it to the best time of year, and it still didn't help. So they're still saying it's like a rebound from COVID, and maybe it'll change, but it doesn't feel like it.
Maybe they need a Radwood experience.
So
like
Pebble Beach, Monterey, Car Week is the new Geneva.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Trivia?
Yeah.
It's trivia time, everybody. I'd like you to tell me the only 2 drivers in Formula One with 0 points.
Right now?
Oh, right now?
Right now. Currently, this season.
I mean, Latifi doesn't have any points.
That is 1.
And then, dude, who even races?
Who even races?
Okay.
Did Vettel get any points?
Vettel. Yeah, he has stuff points. Yeah, he has points.
Vettel has 20 points in 13th position.
I feel like Schumacher got 1.
Schumacher has points.
Schumacher 12 points, 15th position.
It is
Ricardo.
No, Ricardo has points.
That would be so fucked up.
Yeah. Damn,
He's in 14th with 19 points.
Shoot.
He's between Vettel and Schumacher.
Magnussen?
You're close.
No, he did really well the first
Magnussen
race.
has 12 points.
He got 5 the first race.
the first
or
race.
whatever.
Sorry, Magnussen has 22 points in 12th position.
He I'm trying to think.
Latifi 0.
Because I know Albon has points. Okay, then you go over to like Alpha, the next
AlphaTauri?
No, Alfa Romeo is probably I think they're in 9th place.
Oh, Zhou Guan Yu?
So Zhou Guan Yu got points first race of the year.
17th position with 6 points.
has points. He got quite a few early.
Bottas is top 10.
Yeah,
Who
early. He
are
hasn't
we
done
missing?
anything recently.
This is so weird.
And then you have Gasly, and you have
I think this is kind of a little bit of a trick question.
because it's a driver that filled in. So it's,
And he's been around.
yeah. So it's Hulkenberg.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hulkenberg, 2 races, 0 points.
The funny thing, 0 points. Yeah.
You so trickster.
Yeah.
That's the thing they're saying. They were like, there's jokes about Latifi, because he basically got destroyed by Nick DeVries,
Yeah.
And they're like, in his contract, it says, it's not, this isn't real, but they're like, if you get 20th place, you're not going to have a ride next year. But he's actually in 21st place
Because Hulkenberg raced twice.
because DeVries came in and got points.
Yeah. But you
So
can't
out.
be 20th.
Yeah, so he's 21st.
Yeah.
Or 20, maybe even 22nd.
Yeah.
Dude,
No, he's 21st.
I got a trivia for you.
Okay, good.
So it is a Pontiac 6000 STE all-wheel drive. That's what we saw.
Okay.
I'll show Elaine a picture later. So
I'm so excited to see this.
in 1989, the Pontiac 6000 STE became the first General Motors passenger car to offer an optional all-wheel drive system. It employed a 3.1 liter V6 with all-wheel drive. How much horsepower did it make?
146.
127.
Dang, Lane almost nailed it. 140 horsepower.
Nice.
3.1 liter V6, and who knows how much this
3 liter.
thing fucking weighs, dude.
Dude, light as ice, bro.
1989.
89, yeah. Can't be many of those left. And
No, I think this one. Yeah, I want to say there's like 6 all-wheel drives left. He said, right? Like they made something like 200, but there's only around 6 like that he knows of. It's this car.
And he was like, I kind of love driving it. It's a great, just around town car.
Yeah, I mean, low speed, just kind of whatever.
Crappy.
Definitely cool to see out there, though.
You can imagine if anything goes wrong with that all-wheel drive system, is just throw that car away. There's no
Are there
parts.
any parts for any of it?
No.
Like, I mean, just in general, right?
In general, none. 0. Yeah, you're like done for. You better have like 2 parts cars for that thing. Be pretty cool. Backyard.
Rivian powertrain.
That's what he needs.
Swap.
I got to see I don't know if Warren had seen it, but I saw the the Chrysler. Is it just called the Turbine?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yep. It's
The one that Jay Leno owns?
Turbine powered.
Yeah.
So
That's
freaking cool, man.
Oh, Jay Leno owns it?
Yeah,
didn't
it's
know that.
so rad.
It was at Pebble Beach, and it's a really
It's like a copper colored,
kind of a stunning car. All the
so
details
cool.
are super cool. The
Yeah,
interior's
it's
awesome.
amazing.
huge headlights,
Yeah, and it's kind of funny, that front end. It looks kind of like,
Again, it's like the
big
freaking
pontoons. It looks a lot
rocket style.
but better styled. Like the rocket, or the one that we saw at, what was it, the Plutonium?
Dynamo.
Or what was it? The Dynamo was definitely like,
it was above and beyond, but that's like
it was a
they
concept
could have
car,
made
right?
that
It was
lot-
like like something you would see in a superhero TV show or something. Whereas like this
Yes.
thing looked like a real car.
and it was functional. Like
I was
turbine.
wondering, I wanted to ask, there was a lady there standing there who was like, one of the marketing people or something, and I didn't get a chance to talk to her, but the paint was really bad. Like, I don't know if like that was the way they were shot back then. Like the metallic was just so blotchy. And I was
Probably.
wondering like if it was resprayed at some point, like really poorly, or if that's just the way it was,
But it's
Probably
like
both.
concept car style where they just
Yeah. It was like not, I mean, it was totally satin, of course,
Yeah.
it wasn't glossy, but then just the metallic was just like, it was almost textured, it was like raised. It was like
Yeah.
so gnarly.
I mean, early metallics. And
wonder what year it was.
non-European cars, like
boat paint.
pretty bad, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I remember I talked about it before. But I was reading a magazine from like 79 or 80, and it was testing a couple of American cars, and they were like, the paint doesn't really have a shine to it. It's like,
Right.
well, it's crazy the stuff that we had to deal with back then. It's like the fan like isn't really it kind of squeaks and rattles and
Yeah.
and the one window doesn't work properly, and
Totally.
Dude,
remember it was the rear windows didn't roll down on that one car.
like an
It was
LTD
a
or
four-door car. It was a American car. Shout out if you know what this is. And they just decided not to have roll-down rear windows to save on costs.
Whoa. That's horrible.
Dude, so this thing is full of trivia, man. Guess who made the body? They first
Fisher.
of all, no.
That's the only person I know.
Bodywork.
DeLorean.
The bodywork was constructed by Italian design studio blank.
Pininfarina.
Zagato.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
And they made
sense.
55, dude. I didn't know they made that many.
Dang. They actually produced them?
Yeah.
Or like they sold them?
They made 55 or 5 prototypes and 50 public, like, so like it was a limited run of 50 cars for public use, blah, blah, blah.
Damn.
So, dude, but yeah, and it's totally functional. It actually works, which is
I
amazing,
heard it
you know?
fire up at Pebble because that was part of the class that Brad Brownell's car from the museum, which had an electric or a magnetic transmission, like pre-war. Anyways, it was like the alternative fuel history of the car kind of thing, or I don't know if it's fuel, but you know what I mean. Power source, so turbine.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how much power it makes, but that's going to take too long. I know it has a crazy RPM, right? Turbines spin like 30,000 RPM or something.
Didn't we have that turbine car at the first Radwood LA?
Oh, yeah, there was a
RX-7?
turbine-powered RX-7.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it got
Remember
quite a
he
bit of
fired
miles.
it up? It
Yeah.
was insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a little helicopter engine.
It was like a
Yeah, it was a
helper. Yeah, I don't know.
Santa's little helper? Or-
I thought it still had a regular engine too.
I don't think so.
Or
I
something?
thought it was
No?
a turbine-powered car. Yeah, and it had a little helicopter engine up front, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it actually
I think
powered
it
the
was
car.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was insane. He did start it.
There was a lot of really nice cars at Radwood Detroit. I gotta say, there was
That's cool.
impeccable 4Runner, 30,000 miles original.
Saw it. Won best truck, right?
Dude,
It
it
was
was,
like-
like absurd. I mean,
Red?
It was like maroon. It
Uh-huh.
was so nice. And then there was a red CRX, which was another just amazing,
Yeah,
perfect,
impossible.
car.
Like original
Really nice-
paint, like unbelievable.
Super nice 944, a nice 323 GTX. Which
The
you never
MR2, did
see.
you see the red MR2? That was an all original MR2 turbo also. SW22, the second one. Perfect.
It was crazy. A lot of good cars. So I'm excited. Next year,
Sure.
we're hoping to do a full blown Radwood. If you're listening,
Yeah.
in Detroit, like 400 cars and all the stuff. So
Yeah.
we will come.
Unfortunately, that one person's not going. They said they're never going.
Oh, no. That's
Dude,
awful.
they hate us because we've just gotten to.
No, they hate us because they ain't us.
Yeah, man. All right.
Yeah, it was rad though.
Can't
Really
please
good
them
time.
all. Can't please them all. But yeah, it was
Thank
fun.
you all who said hello, and it was great seeing everybody. And we'll have a bigger, badder show. And go to the YouTube channel because we have some little scale
Oh, you
models
want
on
to see
display.
a scale models?
And I'm trying to remember.
That's
I want this
how you-
person.
That's how you get
I
the
want this
girls to
person
come
to
the
chime
yard.
in. It'll be a mystery. I want this person to chime in. Someone gave us these. They're little super rad scale models, and they sent me an Alpine A110 because I really like those. They sent Warren a Alpina E9, which is super rad. And then
the windshield wiper broke off immediately.
oh dang! And then Lane got a 914 6 in like.
It's a 6.
And this is about 5 years ago. So if you're watching,
5 years ago. So who sent us these?
Yeah,
We
5
can't
years ago.
remember.
I think it might
Please
have
chime
been
in.
Paul Autoconnell.
Was it Tom Park?
Maybe.
I think it was Tom Park.
Was it?
Tom Park. If you're listening, please let us know. Gosh, I was going to say. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Two things. Coastal Range Rally is coming, December 2nd through the 4th. We already have things rolling with that.
It's coming.
Morning Motors is coming. I never want to announce it on this because there's a little delay. So stay tuned to Instagram for that. And then Radwood Atlanta 11-12, Radwood SoCal 11-19.
Atlanta, a full show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Full blown.
Yeah.
Full blown show at a racetrack. More info coming.
Yeah. Our boy Lee Keen's coming out and doing ride-alongs in a Safari 911.
Rad.
So that's pretty rad.
That's
rad.
super rad.
It'll be good. All right, that's it.
Cool. That's the show.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Bye.
See ya.